All right, welcome to the Morbid Hour live stream.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Drum Smash is in the chat. How's it going, man?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
We're just going to count down our top 10 favorite horror movies. And it's very difficult to narrow it down to just 10, but I think I came up with a pretty definitive list, at least for now. I got a lot of honorable mentions as well. So we're going to count down those, and then we're going to list our top 5 favorite Metallica albums.
Hell yeah.
How's it going, Brian?
Yeah, it certainly was not easy at all. I mean, my top 5 have always been the same, but everything beyond that kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to. There's so many ones I wanted to include, and I made a long list. I ended up with 60 choices, and I had to do the process of elimination. Oh man,
damn.
Yeah.
To me, it was a few that. Oh man, I wanted to put that on there, but
yeah,
it's the weight of that top 10, man. It's a big deal.
There's so many entries that were in and out of my list the whole time I was trying to condense it. So hopefully I'll do it justice.
I'm sure you will.
Before we get started, everybody needs to go see Deadpool and Wolverine because it is freaking awesome and hilarious. I love that movie.
Absolutely. You have to see it if you're a comic book fan. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, so many fun references and Easter eggs for comic fans and even just movie fans.
Right.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Or even if you were just a fan of the first two, you still gonna it's right in line with the first two,
Absolutely.
Just a little bigger,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds was born to play that character. And of course, seeing Hugh Jackman return as Wolverine too is just freaking awesome. So
and he's great in it too.
Oh yeah. They had good chemistry together too. It's cool seeing them team up,
Yeah, definitely. Just seeing Wolverine in that suit is unbelievable.
Yeah. Finally, after 24 years, he finally get his classic yellow costume.
I know, right?
Man,
why did they take so long?
Jeez. And it looked great. It looked amazing. I don't know why
it looked so cool. It's what the hell? Why didn't you do that before? Yeah,
really.
I was off topic. I was really happy with the suit. But of course, this is life. I still see people complain yeah, but why didn't they keep the shoulder pads? I'm like, I don't care. He's wearing the yellow and blue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just be happy with what you got. People are going to nitpick and stuff. It's
of course.
Yeah. Just be happy you finally wore the yellow suit.
I remember they teased the brown and yellow one, and what was it, the Wolverine or something?
Yeah. Yeah,
they had it in the suitcase or something.
Yeah, I think it was just the mask and the gloves, and then he never actually put it on or anything. They just had it. That was a deleted scene too. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so it was the closest it ever came. Now we finally got to see it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's go and get started. I guess I'll start off so we can do the clockwise thing, like always. All right, cool. So, oh man, it was so hard to make this list. So I think my number 10 is going to have to be American Werewolf in London.
Nice.
Yeah, I fell in love with this movie the first time I saw it. It's it's funny and scary. The scene where they're on the David and Jack are on the moors and they hear the wolf howling in the distance as it gets closer, and there's mist on the ground and everything is really, really suspenseful and really scary and really has you on the edge of your seat. And yeah, really, really, really terrifying stuff. And then of course it's really, really funny too. This is one of the first like horror movies I ever saw that really had a great sense of comic relief.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it has that in spades, especially it's the Jack character. He's really, really played by Griffin Dunn. He's really funny.
Yeah.
David Naughton's great, of course, is the lead. I met him at a convention a couple years ago, and he was a really cool guy. Jenny Agutter does a great job. Yeah, the performance is great. The special effects are phenomenal. The werewolf transformations are just nothing short of breathtaking. I still don't know how they pulled all that off. It just looks amazing. Looks like a real lycanthrope transforming caught on film. It's that convincing. And the werewolf itself looks great too. It's an amazing design. Yeah, great special effects, great sense of humor, great creepy, suspenseful scenes. It's a pretty good gore here and there too. The makeup on Jack when he comes back as a ghost and becomes more and more decayed every time you see him looks great as well. Yeah, this is just an awesome movie. Yep, American Werewolf in London, my number 10.
Classic.
Nice.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
All right, am I next?
Yeah.
In at number 10 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original 1974 masterpiece. Yeah, amazing film. One of the scariest movies of all time, I think, if not the scariest. It just has such a grim feel to it. It's just the mood is just ghastly.
Mhm.
And I love the fact they based Leatherface around the real life killer Ed Gein. And man, what an iconic slasher killer. And not only that, but the whole family is very interesting characters. The hitchhiker guy, the cook, Drayton Sawyer there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of my favorite scenes in horror. And I love this scene, even though it goes on maybe a little bit too long when Leatherface is chasing Sally through the fields, and it just goes on, and it's like a horrific nightmare. It's unbelievable. It's chasing through the bushes, through the thorn bushes, through the fields, through the house, everywhere. It's just madness. And probably one of my all-time favorite horror scenes is the dinner scene. I mean, that's just absolute insanity, and it's amazing. It feels so real and so terrifying. It's just madness. I love it. And I'd say the characters even feel like almost like real people. They don't even feel like actors in a way.
Yeah.
It's just so well done. They feel like real people. This whole movie feels like real. Like it could really happen. And yeah, it's just phenomenal. The direction, Toby Hooper, incredible. I love this score, even though it's very it's almost like not even music. It's just like sound, eerie sounds, and incredibly scary. Just an absolute classic, and an example how you can make a film feel so brutal and it barely shows any gore or blood or anything. You just it's just implied. The gore and the blood.
Mhm.
Sometimes what you don't see is scarier than what you do see.
Right.
Leaves it to the imagination. But yeah, it feels like a real crime caught on camera and just so effective.
So raw and gritty, and
yeah,
you'd almost feel the horrible smell that must be around in that barn and the
love it. So Jose Gomez in the chat. How's it going, Jose?
What's that?
So-
No, he met Gunnar Hansen. Wow.
That's pretty cool. I would have loved to have met Gunnar Hansen. I did meet Andrew Bryniarski, who played Leatherface in the 2003 remake and its prequel.
Nice.
Yeah, I bet Gunnar Hansen was awesome.
That sucks because now he's dead. You know?
Yeah, I know. No,
Never get to meet him.
I know. That blows.
Okay, me, a great majority of my list was pretty easy because a lot of them were the movies that introduced me to horror. So I have that like connection. Like, yeah, that's one of my favorites. And starting off is also the original Texas Chainsaw.
Nice.
Yeah, what can you say? It's a classic for a reason. It truly inspired so many horror films. Even today, it's still going on. Like Ty West X, like this was obviously a huge influence.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I just love it. So nostalgic, so raw, so gritty. Yeah, it would be cool to get in a modern horror movie with this level of that kind of feels real and just disgust and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's the original. It's the granddaddy. It's the best.
It's a masterpiece.
I love that steelbook, by the way. I gotta get that.
I love that they went with the original poster art.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. I have the the NECA figure that has that poster on it.
Yeah, same here. Super cool. So my list isn't really in except for maybe the top few spots, my list isn't really in any strict order that much. I don't know that I really. Some of these movies I kind of just consider equal. They're kind of tied. I don't really prefer one over the other, more or less, for most of these. But my number 9, I had to have a Jason movie on here. I had to have a Friday 13th movie, and I kind of like the first 4 and part 6 all equally. They're kind of all tied for number 1 for me when it comes to the series. But if I actually absolutely had to pick one, I guess I'd go with Friday 13th, the final chapter, the 4th film of the series, because I feel like it pretty much has everything that I want from a Jason film. It's kind of the quintessential definitive entry in a lot of ways, and so like I said, I like a lot of them pretty much the same, but like I said, if I had to narrow it down to one, it probably would have to be this one. I love the way Ted White plays Jason. He was very intimidating and very menacing. He was very tall, very, very large man. He was just hulking and towered over everybody. And yeah, he was very brutal. Has some great kills, some pretty memorable characters. Of course, Corey Feldman is Tommy Jarvis, who becomes my favorite male protagonist in the entire series, and of course Crispin Glover. He's a lot of fun. Yeah, some pretty interesting, fun characters. Some very memorable moments. Yeah, creative kills, like I said. Great score, pretty good suspense. Yeah, great looking Jason. He's got the long, black fingernails in this one, which I think was a nice touch. It's supposed to take place right after part 3. He didn't have those long nails, so I don't know how they grew so fast, but whatever. There's a lot of inconsistencies with the continuity throughout the series, so you just got to not think about it too much. But yeah, I love the Friday 13th series. Me and my fiance actually had a Friday 13th marathon.
Really?
Yeah, we watched them all in order. She'd never seen them before, so and she wanted to see them, so we watched them all. And I think this was one of her favorites as well. So
how romantic!
I know. Nothing says date night like watching a bunch of teens get slaughtered at a summer camp.
Like a machete to the face.
Well, she made me watch all the Twilight movies, so I did.
Oh well, yeah.
Had to make it even, you know.
Mhm.
Just kidding, babe. But yeah, I love this movie. It's great.
Hell yeah.
That's right. Tom Savini came back for that.
Yeah, the effects are great. Yeah, the way they kill Jason at the end is awesome. The machete in the head, and he
Yeah.
falls down. His skull slides down the machete. That was just awesome. It's probably the best Jason kill in the entire series, quite possibly.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Me too, drum smash.
Oh, yeah, I love part 2 as well. Like I said, the first 4 and part 6 are pretty much tied for me. I like them all equally and for different reasons. And I like all the others too. I like all the movies, honestly, to different degrees. Some are better than others, obviously. Some are mediocre. Some are more guilty pleasures, but I think they're all enjoyable in their own way. Especially the first 8, all the Paramount ones. Those are the best.
Yeah. Well, my number 9 is going to be The Howling, my favorite werewolf movie of all time. Also, excellent effects. Yeah, by Rob Bottin. Love this movie. It's got some. It doesn't have quite as much humor as American Werewolf, but there's definitely some kind of. There's definitely like some inside jokes in there and stuff. But
Yeah.
you got Dick Miller's character is definitely funny. You got the old man played by John Carradine there in the colony. You got the insatiable Marsha Quist. Love her. And Eddie Quist, of course. Yeah, a great cast. I love the characters. Incredible atmosphere that I don't really hear people talk about that much. This movie has awesome atmosphere. The scenery in the woods with the fog and the mist and the wolves howling in the dark and the it's awesome. I think this is to me the best looking werewolf ever. You know, once they show Eddie Quist in the full form and with his hind legs and huge snout. The thing looks insane. It looks like a monster. Awesome effects. Great cast. Steve Wallace is great. And it's fun too. Awesome movie. Love it. Howling.
Yeah,
Great
American Werewolf in
score
London.
too. Awesome score too. It's got some of that 80s synth stuff going on there. And that kind of church organ sound, and it's awesome.
Yeah, The Howling and American Werewolf in London are definitely the top 2 werewolf movies ever made. It's hard to pick one over the other for me. For years. I prefer The Howling, but I don't know. It's so close. It's so close. I had to put one of them on here.
Yeah.
American Werewolf in London ever so slightly. There's a lot of things about The Howling I think that are even better. The atmosphere, the scenery, the naturistic wilderness environment was, more pleasant to look at. I do think the werewolf itself looks a little cooler than the one in American Werewolf in London. I prefer bipedal werewolves anyway. I think that werewolves on 2 legs are far scarier than 4-legged ones.
Yeah.
And I like how, in American Werewolf in London, David sees his lycanthropy as a curse. He wants to get rid of it. He doesn't want to live with it. Whereas Eddie Quist fully embraces it. And he always being a werewolf.
I like that, how they differ in that sense.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, The Howling is fantastic. It's my favorite werewolf film as well. And hey, for anyone who hasn't seen them, check them out. The Howling has some of the best sequels you will ever see.
Oh, yeah.
Not.
If you ever want to see Christopher Lee in new wave glasses,
Yeah. Even Christopher Lee couldn't save that movie from being terrible. That says a lot. It's an
how you
awesome
got
song
him to
at the
do
end, though.
that.
Yeah, I know.
He probably saw the first one. Was like, oh yeah, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
He had no idea what he was in for.
No, I don't think so.
yeah.
I met CJ Graham and Steve Dash too. Cool.
Nice.
CJ
Nice.
Graham, Kane Hodder, and Ken Kersinger are going to be at a convention that's relatively close by in October. It's kind of a long drive, but it'd be cool to meet 3 of the Jason actors.
Yeah.
I met CJ Graham previously, and I'm gonna meet Ken Kersinger at this one coming up in September. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sucks that Steve Dash, Richard Brooker, and Ted White are all gone now.
Yeah, I know.
Sherlock Scott is in the chat. How's it going?
What's up?
What's up?
Number 9 for me. Oh, I love it. The original Phantasm.
Excellent.
I'm a big fan of this franchise, big fan of the character of the tall man. And, talk on the subject of atmosphere, I eat that shit up. Like, if your movie can be bathed in fog and wind and all that, I'm in it. And this movie is just soaked in atmosphere and one of the best horror movie scores. It is creepy and just amazing. Angus Scrimm is one of the most underrated and underappreciated horror icons. Like, of course, he's not as big as the others, but he should be up there with them because he's amazing. And I just love all the characters. They all got great chemistry. Mike, Jody, and Reggie. Phantasm, just gotta love it.
Hell yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I love Phantasm. It's a classic. Yeah, it's that almost made my list too. Yeah, like you said, great atmosphere, great eerie mood and tone and stuff. That grim, bleak, hopeless feel. The movie feels like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Tall man played by Angus Scrimm is an awesome villain. Reggie Bannister and A. Michael Baldwin play great protagonists as Reggie and Mike. Silver Sphere is a really creative, really unique horror weapon.
Absolutely, it's one of the most creative and original horror films.
Absolutely. Yeah, it almost made my list. It was so close. Like I really wanted to do Phantasm, but
that was one of the ones right on the edge.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the others beat it out just barely.
It's one of those ones that'll sometimes like shoot all the way up on my list. Like, well, maybe it's number 6, maybe it's number 5.
Yeah. So my number 8 is going to be the original Child's Play from 1988.
Nice.
Directed by Tom Holland. Yeah, the start of the Chucky saga begins here. I think this is I love the Chucky movies. I'm a huge fan of the Chucky character. I think this is the best of them. Just the scariest and most suspenseful, and I think the most effective, the most creative. Of course, Brad Dourif plays Charles Lee Ray, the serial killer who's gunned down and returns as the evil doll Chucky, who terrorizes poor young Andy Barkley, played by Alex Vincent, and his mom. And then, of course, Chris Sarandon, one of my favorites, plays the cop who killed Charles Lee Ray, and he's now helping the Barkley family battle Chucky. Just a really, really creepy, suspenseful movie, and the doll doesn't really come to life until about 40 minutes or so into the movie. So, they kind of toy with the audience a little bit, and they kind of keep him in the shadows. And when he finally does come to life, it's a doozy. It's a very memorable scene.
It's a great scene, yeah.
Yeah. It's always really creepy, the jump scare when she picks him up, sees he has no batteries, and he turns his head around and says, "Hi, I'm Chucky, you want to play?" Yeah, that that got me the first time I watched it, which was decades ago. Yeah, I fell in love with this movie when I first saw it. I think it still holds up today. Some of the doll effects are kind of dated. They look a lot better in the sequels, but I think it still holds up. I think it's still a great movie. Yeah, good old Chucky, voiced by the legendary Brad Dourif.
Hell yeah.
Nice choice.
Thanks.
One of the things that they did in the original that they never touched on again was that the longer he stayed in the body, the more human he became, because he had eyebrows and had a receding hairline, and they never did.
He started to look like Charles Lee Ray when he was human. Yeah, the sequels never went with that. It's weird. I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. It looked creepy when he started to look more and more human.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I agree, Drum Smash. Most definitely. Yeah, Kevin Yeager. Yeah, his effects are phenomenal. Chucky, some of his best work.
Yeah.
Right there with the Crypt Keeper.
My number 8 is going to be Dawn of the Dead. Had to get a zombie movie on there somewhere, and this to me is the ultimate zombie masterpiece. Love this movie. Came out in 1978. And man, awesome gore effects from Tom Savini once again. I love the story. I love the setting in the mall. Yeah, the characters are great. You get to know each one of them, and you spend time with them. And it's just so great. Great direction by George Romero. Great score by Goblin. And it's such a great kind of claustrophobic feel when they're inside the mall, surrounded by zombies. And they whole bunch of them make their way in, of course, and then they do their best to clear them all out. And once they get things, kind of manageable, that's when the whole biker gang breaks in, and all hell breaks loose. I thought they were gonna live a nice, happy life in the mall, but they screw everything up.
They did.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead's phenomenal. I think it's like the quintessential zombie movie in many ways. Ken Foray is always great, and Tom Savini is the leader of the biker gang.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Yeah, the zombie makeup obviously isn't the best or anything, but I think it works. I think the movie definitely pulls it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't take you out of the movie or anything.
No.
But, yeah, it's a great movie. The other guitarist and the bassist in my band both went and saw it at the theater like a couple weeks ago, and I really wanted to go, but I wasn't able to. I had something else going on, and I really wanted to go with them because it would have been awesome to see them in the theater. Hopefully, they'll play it again sometime soon.
That would be really cool to see that in the movies.
Yeah, and I would love to see it at the theater. It came very close, but yeah, they said that it was amazing.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
I was a little too young at the time. I was only 2.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. It was one that I was itching to put on my list, and it didn't make it, and I'm still upset about it. But yeah, you could switch it there one day.
Yeah, it came very close to being on my list too. It's definitely at least in my top 15, so it was very close.
Next up for me is going to be Dario Argento's Suspiria.
Ooh.
This movie, what a movie! might we revisit everything great about this movie, the score, the atmosphere, the colors of the movie, just the entire vibe of it. How it too kind of feels like a nightmare, and I just love it so much. Yeah, Dario Argento is really cooking with this movie. So
yeah.
I mean, what can you say? Suspiria. We all love it. We all know it. Yeah. The Suspiria theme was my ringtone for quite a while.
Nice.
Yeah. Love it.
Just the visuals really do it for me. The look of it is so creative.
Yeah, it's very stunning to look at. The visuals are just incredible. It's just dripping with atmosphere and everything. That's my favorite Italian horror movie for sure. It's definitely Dario Argento's finest hour, in my opinion. It almost made my list as well.
Dripping with atmosphere and blood.
Yeah. It's another really surreal, nightmare-ish movie. Feels like a nightmare.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I could just get that stuff up.
Oh yeah.
That opening kill is probably one of the best kill scenes of all time.
Oh yeah, it's a highlight for sure. Yeah, I almost made my list as well. I really wanted to include at least one Italian horror movie on here, and it obviously would have been Suspiria, but I guess the others just beat it out ever so slightly. All right, so for my number 7, I had to have a Freddy Krueger movie on here, and it was between two of them. Now, I'm fully aware that the original 1984 Wes Craven classic is technically the best one in the series. It's the scariest, most suspenseful, most creative, most sophisticated, just the most well done in every way. But if I had to pick my personal favorite that I enjoy watching the most, that I'm most entertained by, it would have to be Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Now, this is definitely tied with the original for me. I cannot decide between the two of them. They're both equally amazing in different ways. But I feel like I watched this one just a little bit more because I just find it a little more amusing, a little more fun. When I have a group of friends over and like we're having like a pizza party or something, I think I reach for this one a little more. Even though, like I said, the original is technically better in every way. But I just love this movie. It's an absolute blast. Yeah, Robert Englund, of course, is always great as Freddy. I think this was kind of the transition period. He wasn't quite as dark and scary in the shadows as he was in the first two movies, but it wasn't quite the campy, overly comedic, over-the-top clown that he was in later movies. He was still definitely very menacing and intimidating. His wisecracks and witty one-liners came across more as like cruel, mocking taunts than they were just straight up gags. It's pretty funny, but I think it's also dark and scary enough. I think that the dream sequences are a little more creative here too. I think that they got a little more elaborate. I think this probably had a bigger budget. The special effects are great. Yeah, I kind of like how allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read that so when Robert Englund talks as Freddy, I think they distort his voice a little bit, make it a little deeper. I read that something happened to where some of his lines were didn't have that effect put on him. So in this movie, it kind of goes from his normal voice to his deep booming Freddy voice. I think it works to the movie's advantage. I like when he uses both. His regular voice before the distortion sounds very, very cruel and mocking and kind of I don't know, just kind of sinister. And then of course when they do the distortion, that sounds great. I think that works to the movie's advantage. I really like how he kind of switches between two different voices a few times in this. The characters are really memorable as well.
That's especially noticeable, I think, in the scene where he fights the Harry Potter dude.
Yeah. sorry, kid, I don't believe in fairy tales. You can really hear it when he's talking to Joey at first too, and he's, what's wrong, Joey? Feel a little tongue tied. Like that sounds more like Robert Englund's normal voice. Yeah, very memorable characters. Heather Langenkamp returns as Nancy Thompson from the original. John Saxon even returns as her father. Great cast of the troubled youths in the mental health facility. Patricia Arquette, Ken Sagas, all of them are very, very memorable. And all those kind of, it's kind of, I kind of felt for some of these characters. It was kind of, I kind of didn't want to see some of them go, so I was kind of rooting for the Dream Warriors in a way. But of course, it's all about Freddy too. So yeah, it's a very, very fun movie. I love the part where Nancy's father and Craig Watson's character are fighting Freddy's reanimated charred skeleton in the junkyard. The stop motion effects are awesome there. And of course, the Freddy puppet, which is also stop motion, looks great. And then, of course, he makes Philip into a puppet using his veins. And that was really, really creative and really gruesome. Yeah, a lot of great moments like that. It was just a really, really fun movie. And it's very, 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 very entertaining. It never gets old. I absolutely love it.
I love it.
Definitely a classic sequel.
Absolutely. Yeah, Drum Smash. Check out Suspiria when you get a chance. It's a masterpiece.
Oh, dude, you haven't seen it yet? Come on.
Yeah, Kevin Yeager did Freddy's makeup. That's right. Yeah, superb.
Dream Warriors is my favorite Freddy film as well. And it kills me, little spoiler alert, that I didn't put a Freddy or Jason movie on my list. It hurts. It'd be in my top. But
I didn't either.
the Dream Warrior soundtrack is perfection. You can hear the Dream Warrior song on Dawkins' Back for the Attack album. Great album. And it has Dream Warriors on it.
Great song. Yeah, great soundtrack as well. That's one thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
That was the one for me that was the hardest not to include. I was like, oh man, I don't want to put that so bad. The next one I think needs no introduction. Psycho.
Yeah.
Absolute classic. Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it, and for good reason, because it's a phenomenal film. What more can you say? I mean, the brilliant direction of Alfred Hitchcock, the suspense, the phenomenal performances by Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh, and man, what a great cast! It's great suspense, and once again based on Ed Gein, the serial killer in real life serial killer. But of course, this version is much more of a handsome, charming guy. They kind of changed that, but it still works, and it almost makes it even more disturbing that this charming, handsome guy that can draw you in, and then you see behind the facade he's really a sick son of a bee. And of course, you gotta love how they dupe the audience into thinking, it's all going to be about Janet Leigh's character, and then bam, 60 minutes into it, they kill her off, and it becomes about the killer, Norman Bates.
Yep.
Yeah, there have been so many.
One of the most classic, switcheroos, pulling the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah, there have been so many horror movies that tried to copy that too. Like they introduced a character that looked like they were going to be the main protagonist, and they're killed off, and the focus goes to somebody else. Like I think the original Friday 13th even did that with the Annie character, hitchhiker, and it looked like she was going to be the main focus. And she died.
But the setup is great because you're drawn into this story of her stealing the money from the bank, Oh, is she gonna get away? She, and then all
Yeah,
of a
the
sudden,
movie,
bam, and something's totally different.
yeah, the movie follows her like up until her death in the shower. That was so groundbreaking at the time. That was just so revolutionary.
Yeah. Once again, the most classic, obviously one of the most classic murder scenes of all time. The shower scene probably is the most. It's the most famous murder scene of all time.
Definitely.
But you don't even barely see any blood. You know, just see a little bit dripping down into the drain or whatever. You hear the cuts happening, but you don't really see.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. I love, after she falls over and you see close up of her eyeball, it's a
So iconic.
yeah,
Yeah, Anthony Perkins,
genius.
definitely. Alfred Hitchcock was just a master, like at his craft, and that movie's a testament to that. And Anthony Perkins,
Yeah.
of course, excels as Norman Bates. He's just phenomenal in the role.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
another epic classic score.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, Psycho is almost made my list as well, and I'll fully submit that it's probably it's definitely technically a better made movie than a lot of the choices I went with. Because it's like you said, it's just a masterpiece for sure. It's very very well done, and I really wanted to include it, but
So good though.
Oh yeah.
These last 7 for me, why they're so important is because these are the ones that were directly responsible for me becoming a horror fan. I watched these all on repeat. So, starting off at number 7, we have the original The Lost Boys.
Nice.
Yeah. This movie is so much fun in every single way. The soundtrack is great. I could smell the hairspray in this movie. Yeah, just a phenomenal cast. This movie really was kind of like Goonies for the horror fans in a way. Like it had that level of but yeah, this is so much rewatchability, such a fun time, and I forget the actress's name who played the character Star in this movie, but she was yeah, I think so. She was one of my first celebrity crushes. Like when I watched this as a gorgeous. But yeah, The Lost Boys, it rules. Gotta love it. And of course, I remember they made sequels like 20 something years later. But I'll be honest, I kind of like the third film, The Thirst. It's not bad. The second
Really?
one,
yeah, the third one's pretty okay. The second one's not that great. Ain't touch the original.
definitely not. Yeah, The Lost Boys is a great, great movie. I wanted to include that on my list as well. It's so much fun. It's just so satisfying to watch. Oh, Kiefer Sutherland, getting tongue tied, as David and his gang of vampires, and of course Jason Patrick and Corey Haim are great as the Emerson brothers. Corey Feldman and Jamison Newlander, a lot of fun as the Frog Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great atmosphere, great scenery. It's really funny too. Yeah, the movie's an absolute blast. Yeah, I really wanted to include that one on my list as well. Came very close.
Kiefer was a great villain.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, that awesome mullet. He's just charismatic as hell.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So my number 6 is going to be none other than The Shining.
Excellent.
directed by the great Stanley Kubrick and loosely based on the novel of the same name by Stephen King. And of course, everybody knows Stephen King didn't like this adaptation because it strayed very far from his novel. It does deviate significantly from the source material. The literary Jack Torrance is very different from his cinematic counterpart. And I have read the novel. It's great. I love it in different ways. But I think this is a rare case where I do prefer the movie ever so slightly, even though they're both just great in very different ways. This movie, it's mostly all about the atmosphere. It's just the perfect, bleak, hopeless, eerie tone. The isolated, secluded setting at the Overlook Hotel, based on the real life Stanley Hotel, is a perfect location for a horror movie. Ghosts are actually my favorite out of all the like paranormal creatures, vampires, werewolves, zombies. Ghosts are my favorite, but there's not a lot of great ghost movies, unfortunately. But this is one of them. This is, in my opinion, the best. I think this is the best ghost movie ever made. Jack Nicholson's a blast to watch as Jack Torrance. He's just great. He's just highly entertaining and very memorable. Great ominous scenery and a score. The score is perfect. Yeah, great soundtrack. It's very stunning visually. Yeah, the directing by Stanley Kubrick is just top notch. And I really nothing bad to say about this movie. I think it's a flawless masterpiece. I think it does everything that it sets out to do, more than efficiently. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely love The Shining. It's just horror perfection.
Definitely. And yet another one I wanted to add to my list. I feel like a lot of our honorable mentions are ones that each other are saying that we wanted to add on the list.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Of course, we also did recently lose Shelley Duvall as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Peace, Shelley.
She passed earlier this month, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
My pick for number 6 is going to be Rosemary's Baby.
Nice.
To me, in my opinion, the greatest example of psychological horror. I mean, it's amazing. Say what you will about Roman Polanski. He's got shady past there, but his direction in this movie is brilliant. It's such a great slow burn, suspenseful build up to one of the most classic endings in horror, And I think Mia Farrow's performance is brilliant. Such a likable character, and you wanted to get away from this madness that's happening around her, And it makes you think sometimes, is this really happening to or is it just in her mind? Wonderful visuals, some really messed up dream sequences, and the way they handled the subject matters is brilliant, and excellent performances by Rosemary's neighbors there, the Castavets, as these creepy nosy neighbors, and then you realize as the film goes on that there's something more to it, something more to them, and it's such a amazing suspenseful build-up. I've never seen a better example of that.
Yeah, Rosemary's Baby is great. Mia Farrow gives a very gripping performance, and you really feel for her struggle and her journey as a character. It's very psychological too, and those cult members are just creepy as hell. And like they just get more and more sinister as the movie goes by.
God, yeah.
Figure out their true intentions and stuff. Just like, whoa, what is happening here? It just builds up and really has you glued to the screen because you want to see, what it is going to amount to. And boy, does it pay off pretty well, I think. Yeah, Rosemary's Baby is a great movie.
What have you done to his eyes?
Yeah.
What have you done to him, you maniacs?
So memorable. Yes, Drum Smash. I have seen the miniseries of The Shining from 1997 with Steven Weber. It follows the novel a lot more closely. I mean, Stephen King was heavily involved in the production. After all, it was directed by Mick Garris, but I think Stephen King wrote the screenplay and, like I said, was very, very involved. It's good. I like it. I think the performances are good. I think it's, I like it. I like how it's a lot longer. It's the miniseries. I really enjoy it, but it's just not that scary.
Right. That's the main thing. It's not that scary.
The 1980 movie is far scarier. The 1997 movie is maybe a little more emotional and heartfelt or something. Like I really do enjoy the characters, and but I don't know, it's got a lot of cheesy moments, like a CGI hose with teeth and just stuff like that. Kind of,
You got that TV movie budget, so
yeah. But yeah, it's still pretty good. I think Steven Weber was a good Jack Torrance. He's a lot closer to the novel version. Jack Nicholson was pretty much psycho from the get-go, whereas Steven Weber was more a gradual descent into insanity. He just kind of declined into madness more slowly, just like in the book. But I still like it. I like the miniseries.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny if Jack Nicholson in The Shining, instead of saying "Here's Johnny," he popped his head in and said, "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?"
That probably would work too.
Yeah. That would have worked. Definitely.
What, my turn?
Yep.
Cool. Next up for me, Reanimator.
Nice.
It's Reanimator. It's a classic. It's amazing in every single way possible. The performances, the score, sounds like something. We'll look past it. Yeah, just another one of those movies that I can quote the entire movie while watching it, just because I've watched it so many times. I know your work, Dr. Hill, quite well. Your theory on the location of the will in the brain is interesting, though derivative of Dr. Brewer. Okay, I'm done. And of course, Herbert freaking West, played to perfection by Jeffrey Combs, is one of my favorite movie characters ever. Like,
me too.
Cool.
Same.
Yeah, Rihanna. Got to love it.
I had Reanimator in my list. Like the whole time I was making the list, Reanimator was always there. Then kind of the last second, like I moved it to like number 11. So it hurt me not to include Reanimator. I really wanted this to be on the list, but
me too.
I just beat it out ever so slightly. I actually made a top 10 horror movies video on my channel years ago. And I didn't include Reanimator. In the description, I actually wrote, "Oh no, I forgot to include Reanimator." So I really wanted to include this time. Because yeah, like you said, Jeffrey Combs as Herbert West just owns. Like he's just so great. Such a phenomenal character. One of my favorite performances in a horror movie ever. And then Dr. Carl Hill, played by David Gale, is an excellent villain.
I know, right?
Great gore and effects. It's just such a fun movie. It's an absolute blast. I really, really wanted to include it.
Mr. West, I suggest you get yourself a pen.
Who's going to believe a talking head? Get a job at a sideshow.
It's so quotable. Indeed.
Yeah, that's right. Shannon Doherty passed as well. Yeah. Very sad.
One of the biggest teen idols of all time, bro.
Yeah. Absolutely. So my number 5 is going to be none other than the original 1974 masterpiece, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed by the late,
Nice.
great Tobe Hooper. Yeah, you guys already covered it very well, so I'll just summarize by saying, yeah, it's just a brilliant, very effective movie. Yeah, Tobe Hooper and company really had their stuff well researched. I feel like I already said earlier, it feels like a real crime caught on camera. It has that gritty documentary feel. It didn't need over the top gore and blood being sprayed at the screen every 5 minutes to make a good horror movie. They didn't need that. It's more sophisticated than that. Of course, Leatherface is a great villain played by the late great Gunnar Hansen, and his cannibalistic family of. I think the villains are actually more entertaining and more memorable than the good guys. The victim,
yeah,
for
definitely.
sure. Yeah, Jim Saito is the cook, and Edwin Neal is the hitchhiker. There's a lot of fun to watch, and very, very creepy too. Yeah, that dinner scene is so effective. It feels like you're really there, and you can really feel the fear that Sally Hardesty, felt. And I mean, what's more horrible than being, tied to a chair made of human arms and watching these deranged maniacs eat your friends and brother right in front of you? I mean,
Yeah.
what's more horrible than that? I mean, that's just, and a lot of stuff in imagination. It doesn't have a lot of gore, like I said, and I think less is more. And sometimes what you don't see is scarier than what you do see. Sadly, a lot of younger people say the remake's far better because everything's spelled out and spoon fed to you on screen. All the horror is right there, right in your face. And this movie didn't need that. It's more effective without it. I mean, if you prefer the remake, that's fine. Each their own. But I just think that this is far more well done for that reason. Because it's a lot of the horror is just suggested and really makes you. It's kind of psychological. And yeah, Leatherface was far more terrifying in this one too because he, Jason and Michael Myers wear masks to hide their identity. Well, Leatherface wears his mask to gain an identity. There's nothing behind his mask. He wears, there's the pretty woman mask, there's the old lady mask, there's just this kind of normal mask he wears when he's doing killing. Like he's trying to have a personality, and it's really scary. He's a very complex character for reasons like
for sure.
That,
Well, you are right about that. I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake is the #1 remake I see that most people today will prefer over the original.
Yeah, I see that a lot too. And like I said, to each their own. I mean, if that's your opinion, more power to you. I'm just saying, me personally, I think this one blows their remake out of the water. The remake missed the point. Another thing about the remake was, Erin, played by Jessica Biel, was a tough as nails, badass heroine who fought back against the villains. And while that's probably a better character, yeah, absolutely, but it's less scary when I feel like she's not in any real danger. She's always fighting back, and she's gonna win against these villains. In this movie, Sally just feels so helpless, and you really feel for her. She's a total victim. She's not gonna really be able to fight back and be all tough and stuff. Like I said, that's a better character, but it's far scarier when you feel that helpless, bleak hopelessness.
Yeah, they feel more like real people to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Just these random average people that get stuck in this horrible situation.
Yeah, exactly. The remake's still pretty good. I actually I think it's one of the better remakes. It is kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's a lot gore.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's good. I just think that this one's far more effective because it's it does leads to the imagination and just it pioneered that that style. It's the one that started it all in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Just a mental torture too in the dinner scene thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was no dinner scene in the remake, so it's like it's
the horror of what they're gonna do and what they have in store, what they have plans for. That's
one of the most. And I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, the original's cheesy and outdated." It's like that's one of the most disturbing things I can think of, being held against your will and having these cannibals eating your loved ones right in front of you, and then they're probably going to eat you next. I mean, my gosh, that's doesn't get much more gruesome and horrific than that.
Yeah. Well, we're getting into the nitty gritty here.
Yeah.
My number 5 is The Shining. Yes.
Nice.
Everything you just said before, I completely agree with 100%. And not much more I can say than that. I love just the direction of Stanley Kubrick is what makes this movie. I think like you said, the atmosphere, once again that you're in this huge, massive hotel, but there's that sense of isolation and being closed in, and they get cabin fever. That's what happens to Jack. And yeah, he's so fun to watch. This manic performance that he has is amazing. And I feel like Shelley Duvall is very underrated. I think she's fantastic in this movie. She's very likable. She just feels like this real, mother trying to protect her child. Just this genuine, good, wholesome person. And it's crazy. I love the whole big dream sequence in the ballroom with the Jeezy. You were the caretaker here. So creepy, these ghosts and shit. And I love how it seems like he is actually working with Grady to get rid of her.
Yeah.
Like the scene when she throws him in the freezer or whatever.
Right.
And he's talking to him on the other side. Great, I see you hardly could have taken care of the situation we discussed, And then he gets out somehow, so
The ghosts are definitely real. Some people think that
yeah,
they're just in Jack's head, but everybody, all the characters see him. Jack sees him. Wendy sees him. Danny, of course, obviously sees him. The cook, O'Halloran, played by Scatman Crothers, he knew that they were there. He obviously knew about the ghosts. He talked about room 237 and all that, the bathtub ladies. The ghosts are definitely real.
Of course, the boy sees him, Danny.
Yeah. He's got the Shining.
Twins and
Yeah. Come play with us.
That's so creepy.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Forever and ever. Those like flashes that they show the girls all hacked up and
Yeah.
it's nasty.
Yeah, pretty brutal. That's like one of the most horrifying things too. Your own father or husband trying to kill you. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah. Then he talks about I corrected them.
Yeah.
Of course, the creepy lady in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Thinks it's this hot chick, and then
It's funny because Leah Beldam, who played the young version of the bathtub lady, that was her only movie she was ever in. And Billy Gibson, who played the old rotted hag version of the bathtub lady, that was also the only movie she was in too. So both actresses who played the bathtub lady only had The Shining in their filmography. Fun fact.
Interesting. Oh boy, what more do we have here? I'm curious.
Top 5. These have never changed. They've never moved around. And I can ramble on for days about them. Number 5 for me is The Return of the Living Dead.
Nice.
My favorite zombie film of all time. The memories I have with this film are just incredible. So rewatchable. Linnea Quigley in this movie is trash. Whew. Sure. Just the zombies themselves. Like, the funny thing is, a lot of the zombies in this movie don't even have any kind of makeup on. They just have mud all over them. But they have like their showcase zombies in this movie, like Tarman.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Tarman is also my favorite zombie look ever. I love the way he looks. I love the brains. And I am almost 100% certain that it's because of this movie, the majority of people think zombies eat brains. Because before this, there was brains. It was just human flesh. Yeah. The Return of the Living Dead. Also, one of my favorite posters. Like, it's just so good.
Is
Posters like that. I've always, for years, I've made fun of that zombie they have tied up, and it has no lips. So when it says brains, it just brains. Do you want to party? Yes, I do.
Me too.
Hell yeah.
oh, it's like a rock and roll zombie movie or something.
Yeah. It's the ultimate party movie.
Yeah.
The horror. Well, that's a
It's
nice
funny,
segue.
too.
Yeah. That's a good segue into my number 4 choice, Return of the Living Dead. Freaking love this movie. It's an absolute blast. It's just highly amusing 80s cheese and it just so amusing. Yeah, like you said, I think this is the one that kind of started the zombies eating brains trope, which has been, imitated countless times. Yeah, great characters. I think that the older characters played by James Karen and Clu Gallagher and Don Calvin, I think they're even cooler than the younger punk rockers in a lot of ways. I think they're even more fun to watch. But the punk rockers are great too. Of course, Tom Matthews from Friday 13 Part 6 is great. Of course, Linnea Quigley, my buddy who I hung out with for like an hour a few years ago. She's really cool. It's trash. Very memorable. She's like the scream queen. And her dance scene in the cemetery is, of course, very iconic. Great soundtrack. I love the music. I said earlier that Dawn of the Dead is probably technically the best zombie movie ever made, the most definitive. But I definitely prefer this one. I think this is way more enjoyable. I think this is just more fun to watch and just more entertaining for me, even though Dawn of the Dead is probably technically more well made on paper. But I definitely prefer the more decayed, more rotting zombies with missing eyeballs and limbs and like bones exposed and rotting green flesh and stuff. I think it's just way cooler to look at. We even have a zombie that's a complete skeleton. I love stuff like that. Great special effects, great makeup, great acting, very fun characters. This is an absolute blast. I rented this from the video store a lifetime ago and instantly fell in love with it. And I never get tired. I've seen it, more times than I've seen the sun by this point, and it never gets old. It's freaking amazing.
Definitely,
it's hard, man. Is
definitely the most fun zombie movie of all time, I think.
Absolutely. We're talking about the ending to The Shining drum smash. Yeah, I guess it suggests that Jack Torrance has like always been there somehow or something.
Yeah,
he's in that picture from 1921.
Yeah, either that or Jack was a reincarnation of that person in the photo or something.
Yeah, something like that. I guess it's open to interpretation. So I mean, yeah. Definitely makes you think.
Definitely.
That's what I think. He was always there.
Yeah. That's what Grady said. You were always the caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that movie has so much. There's so many like theories and stuff about it. Like they even made a whole documentary. I think it was called Room 237 about all the theories and like the hidden subliminal messages and all that. It's definitely a fascinating.
That even makes it more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
My number 4 is going to be The Exorcist.
Nice, classic.
And I don't care what people say. I know people say nowadays it's overrated, blah blah blah. This movie's phenomenal. I don't care. um, Scary as hell. A great slow burn. Um, Phenomenal makeup effects. Um, Amazing score. The acting is some of the best I've ever seen in horror. Including Linda Blair. I mean, just imagine what she had to go through making that movie. Like, insane, amazing performance. I love the effects too. The sound effects, with her voice. How when she talks, it sounds like 5 or 6 different voices going on at the same time. It's crazy and it's so effective. I love how just as the movie goes along, her face gets more and more hideous. Yeah. What more can you say about it? It's to me the quintessential exorcism movie. I don't think anything will ever top this when it comes to like exorcism in movies.
Yeah.
It's just so well done. I love the
Absolutely.
religious themes and the religious aspects are handled so well and so accurate that even the Catholic Church backed it. So yeah, Exorcist, phenomenal, 1973 masterpiece.
Yeah, that's an absolute classic. Yeah, Linda Blair, like you said, is great as Reagan. The makeup looks incredible. Max von Sydow is amazing as Father Merrin. Yeah, great cast. Yeah, very, very creepy, eerie feel. It's very joyless and bleak, which I like.
Oh yeah.
Very sinister, very, very creepy. And yeah, very, very well made. Great score too.
Yeah. And Ellen Burstyn's great. Jason Miller as the priest.
Yeah, it's Father Karras. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of horror movies that try to imitate that movie. Like still to this day, there's so many demonic possession movies and that have been made at this point that none of them ever come close to the brilliance of The Exorcist.
Yeah, I agree.
Very cool drum smash. Yeah, Rotting Corpse Zombies are the best.
Exorcist is a 100% 10 out of 10 movie. What do you guys think of the sequel?
Even better.
Oh yeah.
Are we talking about the heretic here?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Repossessed with Linda Blair.
Oh.
Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair. Yeah, that movie's hilarious. Oh gosh, The Heretic. Oh man,
It's a really fun movie.
Yeah. Gosh, how do you go from a masterpiece like The Exorcist, which is nearly flawless, to a movie like The Heretic? I mean, wow, what a that franchise just went downhill really quick with that sequel.
I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't know either. Well,
crazy.
apparently the director said he wasn't even a fan of the original, so was he the right choice to direct a sequel?
Well, that's a major problem.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely shows.
Yeah.
I think I only managed to sit through the whole thing like
decide
once.
to
Yeah.
go off on some random ass tangent.
My gosh.
Oh yeah. But next up for me,
they had a great.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say. I mean, they had a great cast there too, but
yeah, they had potential. They had the right ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the good cast was there, but then they just screwed it up.
Next up for me, Fright Night. Yeah.
Fright Night.
Oh, I love Fright Night. Once again, much like Return of the Living Dead, my favorite vampire movie of all time. Another one that I watched religiously to the point where it was like the only VHS tape I had that I actually technically broke. Like it stopped working. Yeah, the poster's fantastic, the characters, the soundtrack, the score. Oh, it's just a perfect combination of a movie. Everything is just incredible. Um, it's so quotable too. Like
oh yeah.
like his dinner's in the oven. Yeah, and I'm just gonna say it. The Fright Night score has got to be the sexiest sounding score of all time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So 80s.
I love the nightclub scene. I love when he's like, "Filthy son of a bitch," and then he catches his fist and Charlie, and then it's just so good. Chris Sarandon is perfection. Roddy McDowall is perfect as Peter Vincent.
Yeah.
And I like the twist on that type of character where Peter Vincent is not your heroic vampire killer. He's that he'll see a vampire and run away until he gets the courage to do it. And I like that spin on it. So
He just plays one on TV.
Yeah, just an actor, but he has to become his character in real life.
Yeah.
And it's the movie that also technically gave me the love for Hammer horror because he's watching Scars of Dracula on
That's right. Yeah.
Fright Night.
Glad you caught that.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch it till I think you guys said it. I'm like, oh shit, he's watching Scars of Dracula. I have to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, fake looking bat and everything. My next choice for number 3 is also Fright Night.
Nice.
I love this movie. Oh my gosh. It was an absolute blast. Me and my fiance watched this one pretty recently as well, and she really liked it. Yeah, it's always been a favorite of mine for decades. I fell in love with it when I first saw it as well. And yeah, I love the cast. Yeah. Chris Sarandon is amazing as Jerry Dandridge. Just so much fun to watch. Roddy McDowall excels as Peter Vincent. William Ragsdale as Charlie is a very memorable lead. Amanda Beers as Amy. Stephen Jeffries steals every scene he's in as Evil Dead. He's just a lot of fun to watch. Even Jonathan Stark as Billy Cole is pretty memorable.
Yeah.
Despite having kind of a smaller part. Just a great cast, great characters, great scenery, great soundtrack. This is so much fun. Like every highly amusing second of this movie just has to be glued to the screen. It's just so amusing. It's scary. It's funny. It's satisfying. Just so enjoyable on so many levels. So many quotable lines, mostly by Evil Ed. It's a fun flick. Just God bless the 80s, man. They don't make them like this anymore, unfortunately.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. This movie is just an absolute blast. Freaking love it.
And also the makeup effects are freaking outstanding.
Top
getting
notch.
Credit for the great makeup effects.
Yeah, most definitely. The transformation scene when Evil Ed's turning from a wolf back into a human form. Yeah, that looks incredible.
I love Billy Cole's definitely just melts and is green slime and
yeah, that was awesome.
It's awesome. Oh boy. So we up to number 3?
Yes.
Alien. To me, the greatest sci-fi horror film of all time for me. Phenomenal. It never gets old for me. I love everything about it. The atmosphere is unbelievable. The tension, the suspense, the slow burn build up. Love that they kind of, keep the creature kind of in the background. You don't get to see him too much. He just kind of pops out here and there till the end, of course, which is just amazing, the third act. And what a great cast. I love all these characters. Obviously, Ripley, probably one of the greatest horror heroines of all time.
Definitely.
Amazing performance, and I like how she turns out to be like kind of the final girl, whatever. You don't really expect that so much. You think it's going to be like the main guy there, Tom Skerritt. But man, she really comes through as a badass,
Yeah.
I love the creature design is phenomenal. One of the coolest looking aliens. Great score, great direction from Ridley Scott, just brilliant. The creature, the set design is one of the things that makes it hold up so well to this day. The set design by like H.R. Geiger and stuff, based on his paintings. And awesome movie. Just a perfect blend of sci-fi and horror.
Yeah, Aliens is definitely my favorite sci-fi horror movie as well. Yeah, I agree. The design of the xenomorph is one of the most creative, most imaginative looking creatures
Yeah.
in film history. The H.R. Geiger design is just incredible. Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley is one of those badass female characters ever. She's one of my favorite heroines.
And that, the scene when the guy finds the cocoon and he goes to look up, gets closer to, That's scary as hell, man.
Yeah. And of course, the chest burster scene when when it first comes out of the guy's chest. I didn't see that coming when I first watched it.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. That was a doozy. Yeah, Ridley Scott is an amazing director, and Alien's easily my favorite movie he's ever directed.
What do you think of, speaking of Ridley Scott, Gladiator 2 coming out?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I was shocked. I'm like, what? Gladiator 2?
I know. I didn't even know that was in development.
Yeah, I saw the trailer when I went to see Deadpool there.
Yeah, me too. It took me by surprise. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know that was coming out. How about that?
I might check it out.
Next up for me, I could watch this damn movie every single and never get tired of it. Night of the Demon. Much like Return of the Living Dead, it's that party movie. It's great 80s, great soundtrack, amazing practical effects by Steve Johnson. The cast is fantastic. This is how I like my demons to be. Like a lot of demon movies today, they make them look like horns and all that. And they could talk too. They had that. I loved it. There's so many things about this movie. I remember the first time I saw Linnea Quigley do the whole lipstick trick, and I was like, "Whoa, what the?" I love the trilogy as a whole. 2 and 3 are still a lot of fun. 3, but I still like it. But the original is just so damn good. I'll stop myself because I could go on for 3 hours talking.
Again, another rock and roll horror flick. Like, I love that it takes place in Halloween.
Yeah, another party movie for sure. I love Night of the Demons. It's so much fun. I wanted that to make my list as well. And yeah, Another memorable Linnea Quigley performance. Hal Havens as Stooge is freaking hilarious. Yeah, some fun characters, great makeup effects, pretty cool soundtrack, great location and Hull House and everything. Yeah, the Halloween setting is great too.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
funny.
Amelia Kincaid is great too.
Yeah, as Angela. Yeah, she's great.
Sexy, but
yeah,
scary.
yeah, she was awesome.
Like, I just love this movie so much. Even the old man that pops up, you son of a bitch! Like I love.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I love the ending of the movie because it's so random, just like Halloween deers.
Yeah. The razor blades coming out of his throat.
Eat a bowl of fuck.
Yeah. Pretty much everything Stooge says is gold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I will too.
Hell yeah.
Every Halloween or every October, I usually have a marathon with all three of the Night of the Demons movies.
I still haven't seen 3. I'm
Really?
embarrassed to say.
Yeah,
I did finally watch 2 recently.
Nice. The first one's the best. 2 is really, really good too. It's really entertaining. 3 is definitely the weakest, but I still enjoy it. I think it still has its moments.
Yeah, you should check out 3, and then you should go to the remake from 2009.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
I watched that one time, and that was enough for me. I didn't ever want to see it again.
Nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Alien, the Romulus?
Oh, yeah. Alien Romulus. I still haven't seen Alien Covenant, so.
Me neither. This one looks good, though, I think.
Yeah, it looks decent. Oh. All right, so it's my turn. So my number 2, I'm sure y'all know this is coming, is my favorite sequel of all time. It's got to be Evil Dead 2, directed by the great Sam Raimi.
Figured that.
Yeah. Starring the legendary Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams, and his performances in this movie is actually my favorite horror protagonist of all time. My favorite hero in any horror movie ever. Yeah, this movie's just an absolute blast. It blends horror and humor perfectly. It's scary, it's funny, it's gory, it's over the top, it's zany. It's it just takes in a wild roller coaster ride that never lets up. There's some gloomy, eerie scenery and ominous atmosphere. Great looking demons. The makeup effects look great. Some great special effects, stop motion stuff here and there. But it's really all about Bruce Campbell as Ash. It's really cool seeing his transformation from kind of more cowardly, kind of geeky, awkward character to an absolute badass, shotgun toting, chainsaw armed, one-liner spitting, wisecracking action hero. Yeah, he's pretty awesome in this.
Well said.
Yeah, Ash is just great. I would love to hang out with him. And yeah, this movie is just absolutely blast. He's really what makes the movie so great. But even if you don't factor that in, it's still an awesome movie in every way. Absolutely love Evil Dead 2. As soon as I saw it, it immediately became one of my top favorites. It immediately shot to the top of the list. Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolute blast. It's phenomenal.
I love the manic energy of it,
Yeah, just
so
never
like
lets
off the wall, Well, just like yours wasn't much of a surprise, mine probably won't be much of a surprise. The Horror of Dracula.
Great choice.
1958 Hammer, the ultimate Hammer classic.
Yeah.
Love this movie. It's my favorite Dracula movie. It's my favorite vampire movie, period. Christopher Lee kicks freaking ass. Peter Cushing kicks freaking ass. He's amazing as Van Helsing in film. I cannot get enough of it. It never gets old for me. I think it's just a perfect Dracula movie. Even if it does stray from the novel, I still love what they do with it, even more so than the novel, honestly. Amazing vampire film. It's just perfect. The atmosphere is incredible. It has everything that Hammer is so well known for. The amazing, bombastic, loud score. Beautiful women. That classic period setting, the gothic castle. I love everything about it. Fantastic film.
Yeah, Horror Dracula is great. I grew up watching the Hammer horror films, and that one was always my favorite of the bunch. And yeah, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing are just top notch as always.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a fantastic movie. Like you said, the gothic tone and scenery, and yes,
It's that classic, easily the most classic death of Dracula, Peter
absolutely. Yeah, such a riveting climax.
jumps up and pulls the curtain back, and then he puts the two candlesticks
Yeah.
together, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Badass.
Oh yeah, Peter Cushing rules as Van Helsing.
Yeah.
That would be my favorite Hammer horror film as well too, and favorite. So good. I finally got like an actual standalone copy for that film because I only had the collection before.
Yeah.
I bought it brand new, and it was one of those like old snapper cardboard cases.
Yeah.
Had the sticker on it, and the sticker immediately tore the back cover a little bit. And I went,
Oh no. I hate when that happens.
They still need to come up with a decent release, for God's sake. There's never been a special edition release of this
I
movie. How
know.
is that possible?
I'd like for them to have the full Dracula death sequence.
Oh yeah, that'd be great
Yeah,
extra, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's a few more frames of him burning up in the sunlight, and you can find the full version on YouTube, and it looks pretty gnarly. I'd love to see that incorporated into like a director's cut, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or just a special edition.
You are correct, though. Horror of Dracula needs the Brides of Dracula treatment. Like this kind of.
Yeah, right?
It needs that kind of upgrade.
Get on it, Scream Factory.
Or even from the Hammer, they've got new owners now and everything. Come on, do something.
Yeah, please.
My number 2 is it's tied with my number 1. I mean, I live, laugh, and breathe these 2 movies and franchises. So, coming up next for me, Evil Dead.
Nice.
That's a cool cover. There's so many versions of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, so many different artworks.
Someone's in My Fruit Cellar is a classic one.
Yeah.
Swallow the
Fresh Soul.
Like I said, I live, laugh, and breathe Evil Dead. I fucking love the franchise. To me, it's like the one there's good franchises, but Evil Dead to me has no bad entry. The movies are great, the show is great, the video games and comics. Bruce Campbell, my favorite actor of all time. Love to interview him. That'll never.
Yeah. Let's get him on here. The Morbid.
Yeah, that would be so awesome.
Wouldn't it?
Oh man.
Yeah. Every single damn thing about this movie, it's just fantastic. And technically it's one of those movies that has had that argument for years where I've had that to talk with people and they'd be like, Evil Dead 2 is a remake. I'm like, no, it's not.
Nope.
It's not. They'll be like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, sorry, it's not.
I've had that conversation too, way more times than I would have liked to.
I have to admit, I thought that for a while until someone explained it to me.
Yeah, I used to get heated about it. Now I'm just like, hey, you think it's a remake? That's fine. I know. I'll say it's a sequel. So, yeah, Evil Dead, Ash Forever, Bruce the Man Campbell, Evil Dead 2 fucking rules.
Definitely.
My favorite part is when his hand gets possessed and he starts beating the shit out of himself, smashing the plates over his head.
But he contains it underneath a trash can or something, and puts a bunch of books on top of it. A book on top is a farewell to arms. So many clever moments like that. Just make it so much fun. Love me some Evil Dead. And the second one's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite of the franchise.
Absolutely.
Actually, I don't know. I have to think about that.
Right, so before I reveal my number one choice, my very obvious number one choice that everybody already knows what it's going to be, I got a lot of honorable mentions. I'm just going to go through them quickly. I'm not going to give a summary for each of these movies. I'm just going to go through them really quick. I got a list here, so let me just try to make this as fast as possible. Okay, honorable mentions. Okay, Reanimator, Psycho, Hellraiser, Night of the Creeps, House, The Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, The Lost Boys, The Howling, Night of the Demons, Texas Chainsaw 2, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Nightmare on Elm Street 1, all the other Friday the 13th films, Child's Play 2, Bride of Chucky, Dawn of the Dead, The Thing, The Exorcist, The Omen, Poltergeist, Phantasm, Alien, Creepshow, Black Christmas, all the classic black and white Universal monster films, most of the Hammer horror films, Suspiria, and way too many other Italian horror flicks to name. Okay, that was a mouthful. I just want to get to those as quickly as possible. I had to at least title drop them.
That was very entertaining.
A lot of interesting stuff in there.
I love the part where you said Psycho, Reanimator, every other Friday the 13th.
yeah. I was like, really? Every?
Yeah. Well, most of them anyway. Maybe not every one of them.
I love that you put Texas Chainsaw 2 in there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I had to at least mention those, even though it was brief. All right, of course, my number one choice. We all know it's coming. Say it with me now. Halloween.
Yeah.
The original 1978 John Carpenter masterpiece. The beginning of the excellent Michael Myers saga, starring the great Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis. I've already talked about this movie ad nauseum on this channel. I think pretty much every Morbid Hour episode I've at least mentioned it. So it's made a lot of these lists. So I want to summarize by saying it's a flawless masterpiece. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's just excellence. It's very creepy, very suspenseful, very atmospheric, great soundtrack, great score. Michael Myers is one of the most interesting, most complex horror characters ever. He's my favorite horror villain of all time. Just true evil. He's unrelatable. He's, all of Donald Pleasance, all his lines and monologues as Dr. Sam Loomis, another one of my favorite horror protagonists of all time. It's just perfection in every way. Absolute masterpiece.
Hell yeah.
Nice. I second that. Halloween. My favorite horror movie of all time. The great Halloween. Yeah. I mean, how many times have we talked about it on the show, like you said? Cannot get enough of it. It's a damn masterpiece. It's like the most perfect horror film ever made,
Yeah.
Everything, the direction, John Carpenter's masterful. The cinematography by Dean Cundy is amazing. The performances, I love the characters. I mean, like every scene in this movie is classic to me. It's so iconic, you know. And you got the most iconic boogeyman of all time, Michael Myers, you know. Laurie Strode, one of the most iconic final girls ever, you know. Uh, the brilliant performance of Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis. I mean, you can't beat that. It's just a masterpiece in every single way. The soundtrack, everybody knows it. The whole world knows it. It's amazing. um, and another example, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you don't see a whole lot of blood. You don't really see the kills per se. It's just implied, you know.
It's more
And
subtle.
so well done.
It didn't need
fear
real
the film
kills or gore.
creates, yeah, the suspense is unmatched, you know.
Whose autograph is that on the cover there?
Oh, Nick Castle.
That's what I thought. I figured it was Nick Castle.
Shape.
Cool. Man, that convention I told you guys about, that's going to have Kane Hodder, Ken Kersinger, and CJ Graham. John Carpenter is going to be there too.
Oh wow!
And, yeah, it's like $120 for an autograph. $120 for a selfie.
I can't imagine how expensive he is.
Yeah, but the line would be like a 5-hour wait. Like, man, meeting John Carpenter would just be surreal. Just like, wow, like, man, would that be incredible?
I know, right?
Oh wow!
But yeah, he'd spend the whole time on the line, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Be there all day long.
Yeah. Boy, number one. I mean, it was kind of obvious. It's gonna be Shriek, if you know what I did last Friday.
I've never even seen that.
Does anyone remember this movie? This was weird.
Yeah, I remember it. Scary Movie, I think, did it a little better, and that came out after. That was almost a parody of a parody.
But yeah, number one, Halloween.
Yes.
That's all I have to say because once again, I've talked about it a lot. It's Halloween. It's my bread and butter. It's the film that got me into horror. Michael Myers rules. Like, I love Laurie Strode, but I'm there for Michael Myers. Like, I go to Halloween to see Michael.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing. No matter how good any new Halloween movie is, it's always going to be missing Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's just his ultimate role. You know, he was born to play that character. You know.
Yep.
This is my movie that I can recite pretty much the whole thing. You know, every line.
I'm going grips. Okay, so since we've talked about Halloween a lot, I'll bring this up so it's a little different. The TV cut of the film with 12 minutes of extra footage. The extra footage in the film ain't bad. We actually get to see a part with Dr. Loomis at Michael's.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, actually. Yeah. I wish it was in the movie.
Yeah. It's just, I thought I would bring this up as something a bit different so I don't just say, hey, Halloween. So, yeah. It's a lot better than the Halloween 2 TV cut that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
It's full of sugar. Yeah, I've got that extended.
Slashed and hacked it up.
Definitely. I've got that extended edition DVD as well. And yeah, so those additional scenes were actually filmed during the filming of Halloween 2, and they added them to that TV broadcast, and it was syndicated to kind of coincide with Halloween 2, because I think there are references to the fact that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister in those extended scenes, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think it was filmed at the same time as Halloween 2. And yeah, I do like the scene where Dr. Loomis is at the hearing. And I think the Michael Myers parents are there, or they were there or something, and then they talk about him being committed and stuff. Yeah, I think that should have been.
And it shows even more how much Dr. Loomis tried to warn everybody, you know.
Yeah, I think it definitely adds to it. I really like that extended cut.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it nearly as much as the theatrical version. But like I said, those scenes were added later, like in 1981.
Yeah.
They were filmed during that time, so. Yeah.
Like, I would have put that scene in the movie, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's insufficient security here.
Yeah. You guys ready to talk about some Metallica?
Yep.
All right, our top 5 favorite Metallica albums. So there's really only 4 Metallica albums that I really, really like. So my number 5 is going to be Black Album, I guess. I mean,
I guess.
Like I said, there's like 4 that I really love, and then all the rest are, either good to mediocre to not so good. Yeah, exactly. Technically, this is a great album. It's not really much of a thrash metal album. I mean, these are good songs. I'm sick to death of them. I don't ever need to hear Inner Sandman or Sad But True or The Unforgiven ever again. I've heard them more than I've heard my own name. And I'm sick of them. Oh my gosh, they've lost all meaning. They've been played on the radio and movies and TV shows, and they've been everywhere countless times. They just wore themselves out. But there are good songs. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not really a thrash metal album. It's more of a hard rock album. And again, they're well written. I mean, they're well performed and everything. Some of the solos are pretty memorable. Even the solo in Inner Sandman I like, even though I heard it too much. Wherever I may roam. Some songs that people don't talk about quite as much, like A Wolf of Man, The God That Failed. I mean, it is a good album. And if I had, like I said, there's like 4 that I really love. But if I had to pick, a 5th favorite, I guess it would be this one. I like Death Magnetic, pretty good too. But I grew up listening to this one a lot, so it's good. It's just very overplayed.
True.
I'll have to check that out, Jump Smash. That sounds cool.
So my number 5 pick would be the same, the Black Album.
Nice.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of the songs are played out now, and even were back then, honestly. But they're good. They're good songs, I think there is a reason that it became so big, is because it is, it is a more radio friendly version of Metallica for sure. But yeah, the songs are really good though. You can't deny it. It's just not that old school thrash of Metallica, the old days. But I understand they wanted to get more mainstream and make the money,
Yeah.
And it worked. It certainly worked, because that's what made them the biggest metal band in the world,
Yeah. It's definitely more commercial.
And it brought metal to the forefront, so you have to commend them for that, Maybe it's not classic thrash metal, but it's still metal,
Yeah.
And there's even I like some of the songs that you don't hear as much, I guess. If I'm gonna listen to the album, I like to hear stuff like My Friend of Misery and Through the Never is kind of the one thrashy song on there. of Wolf and Man is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
That's Sad But True is pretty heavy, you know. But it's played out though. But
That was one of the first songs I learned how to play on guitar.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I don't play like you guys, obviously, but I did learn a few like that, and It's a Sandman and stuff.
Oh, nice.
I guess I'm right there with everyone. I'd say my favorite song on here is "Holier Than Thou." I just love the dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that is a cool song. Yeah.
The songs I like on this album are pretty much the ones that are not played to death. Like I'll be honest, I will still put this album on sometimes and like blast "Sad But True" on the radio. Just dun, 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 dun. I just like the beat to it. But yeah, the Inner Sandman, Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters. I'm done with those. Through the Never, great song. Oh, Through the Never. I like it.
All it is, ever was.
So yeah, and you know, I do like good bass. You know, like if metal has like a real good beaty, meaty beat to it, then I'm like, yeah. And it definitely does, but definitely, in my opinion.
Jason Newsted did some good work on that, you know. Like My Friend in Misery, that bass opening, the do 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 do.
Yeah.
You could really hear his bass where you couldn't hear him at all in the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I real quick, on a side note, I think the reason I love Holier Than Thou so much is because it was in the trailer for Army of Darkness back in the day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cool.
That's just a cool tie-in with Evil Dead.
Nice.
Yeah, I like Jason Newsted too. I think he's kind of underrated in a way. I mean, he was in Metallica, so I mean,
yeah. Hey, I'll be honest. I've always felt like I've been on an island because Jason Newsted's always been my favorite bassist. I always felt like he was more metal than most of them. Like the way his energy was, he was fucking brutal.
Oh, he had crazy energy on stage, especially. Like,
oh yeah, he was great.
Live shit, Binge and Purge. That's my favorite live show from Seattle.
Yeah, I love how he sings "Seek and Destroy." Oh, that's pretty cool. He had a pretty cool metal voice. I think he sings with his current project now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he does the vocals in addition to bass playing.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 4, it's got to be "And Justice for All."
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yep. The first album featuring Jason Newsted on bass, replacing the late great Cliff Burton. Yeah, it's a great album. Lots of great songs. "Blackened," the title track. "Eye the Beholder," "One," of course. That's a very iconic tune. "Harvest Our Sorrow." Yeah, it's a great album. You know, I guess you can kind of see it's kind of bridges the gap between it's kind of the transition period from Master of Puppets to Black Album. It's you kind of see like how they were kind of gradually moving toward a more commercial, radio-friendly sound. But this one's still definitely a thrash metal record. It's still very heavy and still has some very memorable riffs and solos. And I think James Hetfield's voice was still pretty good back then. I am going to be that guy and say that the fact that they mixed the bass so incredibly low does hurt the album. I am one of the people that thinks that is definitely a deterrent. That does hurt it a little bit, but you know, still great. I still find myself listening to it quite a bit, and while I don't enjoy it nearly as much as our first 3, it's definitely my 4th favorite. It's definitely a great album.
Is that your fiance?
Yes, indeed.
What's up?
How's it going, darling?
Ooh.
Yeah, Sing and Destroy and River on My Room are great. Yeah, she likes Metallica a lot too.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me prepare you. Don't kill me, guys. Don't kill me. Master of Puppets. Don't get me wrong. I know this is a great album, but it doesn't have replay value for me so much. I don't go back to it that much. I find myself going back to the other ones more often. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a little bit overproduced. I don't know. But yeah, it's a phenomenal album. The songs are great. It's very well made, very well produced. I am a little sick of the title track, Master of Puppets. I'm a little sick of Welcome Home Sanitarium, stuff like that. They're great songs. Love Orion is amazing with Cliff Burton on bass. There is amazing. Yeah, it's every song on here is solid as hell. But I don't know what it is. I just don't go back to it that much per se. So I feel like the others had more replay value for me. I know.
Fair enough. I can see that.
Might I add, how dare you? I'm kidding.
I get that. I totally get that.
It's fun. Felt similar to Injustice for All, where the production for me sounded weird for some reason. Like it sounds great, but it sounds more raw in a way. Like I don't know how to pinpoint it. So, but I never really hear people mention that for Injustice for All.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and no bass on it too.
Yeah, it's definitely a downer.
But yeah, I get what you mean. Number 3 for me. All of these are pretty much my number 1 on any given day, really.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm gonna go with Kill 'Em All for number 1. I mean number 3. What the hell? Counting down. Yeah, it's the first. It's a great thrash album. Just everything about it. The production's great. The songs, The Four Horsemen, No Remorse, Seek and Destroy. Oh, I love No Remorse. No remorse. No repent.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah. And I'll
be right back.
All right. I also really early James Hetfield sound. Like he had that raw screech to his voice. Yeah. Also, have you also always person in the blood spill like doing this? It looks I don't know.
It's such a cool cover though. It's so simple and effective.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I used to draw that cover as a kid. Like,
yeah. I think I used to try and draw Ride the Lightning a lot, and it just looked stupid the way I did.
Me too.
So, what are your opinions on albums like Load and Reload? Because I hate to say it, there are some pretty decent tracks on like Load and stuff that I like.
I like some songs, to be honest. Yeah, it's a totally different direction and sound for them, but I like some of the songs. I like maybe 3 or 4 on each. But it's not the same Metallica, obviously. It's something totally different, but I like some of it.
Yeah.
They're not terrible.
Yeah. But your turn, Hound.
All right, my number 3 is going to be Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Black Album is definitely the most overplayed album, but when it comes to their first 3, I'd say this is probably the one people are most familiar with. I hear these songs the most out of their first 3 albums.
Yeah.
It's a great album. Got great songs like Battery, the title track, Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home. I think my favorite track is actually the closing track, Damage Incorporated. I really love that riff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Yes, so many memorable riffs and solos. Yeah, Kurt Hammond's guitar playing is just top notch, is on point. James Hetfield still had a really cool metal voice back then. His screams and growls were pretty cool. His rhythm guitar playing is also on point. Cliff Burton's bass lines, of course, are amazing. He was a phenomenal bass player. He kind of played the bass kind of like a lead guitar in a way, and I thought he had a very unique style, which really fit Metallica's early sound very well, very complimented. Even Lars Ulrich, his drumming was adequate as well. So yeah, Master of Puppets is just a great album. I absolutely love it. This might have been the first album I ever bought by them on cassette tape years and years ago, and I remember listening to it a lot back then. But it was probably the album that made me a Metallica fan, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's a great album. I think it's really, really good. Very memorable tunes. It's top notch as always.
You could tell you were getting more serious with that, with that album. Like they were going for broke, They put everything into it, the production and the quality of the playing and the lyrics are more intense,
Yeah, definitely. It definitely feels more grandiose and awe-inspiring.
My number 3 is Believe It or Not and Justice for All. I love this album. I know, the bass is an issue. I'm not gonna deny that, but I think they make up for it in other ways. I think this is Lars' best work, probably. He's like a virtuosa in this one. That's his playing is much more complex than he had ever done before that, And I think it's real heavy. I love the guitar riffs; they're really heavy and complex, and I guess that's why I like it. This is the most complex Metallica album of all time, and I like that. I like technical stuff, because I'm into like bands like Fear Factory and stuff, and Sugar and stuff. So very technical bands. So this is their most technical album. That's why I like it, I think. And it's my favorite vocal performance of James Hetfield, honestly. Because in the earlier albums, I felt like he was more like an angry young teenager, but here he sounds like a man, like very deep, growly, and kind of I think his voice sounds awesome, heavy,
Absolutely.
More aggressive. And I don't mind that a lot of people are bothered by the songs are so long and complex and all the time signature changes, and I love that stuff, so that's why I like this album.
Yeah, compositions are quite epic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it appears I've already shown my number 3 with Kill 'Em All because I only have 2 left. So I guess I'll just show my number 2 now. I think I went ahead at one point because it was like 5, 5, 5. 4, 4.
Did you miss one?
Because I've already shown my number 3. So yeah, I guess I'm showing my number 2, which is Master of Puppets. Yeah, I think Master of Puppets, as much as I love that song, it has unfortunately become one of the more played out ones. because of Stranger Things. Like it was
Yeah.
everyone started playing it, and I was just like, okay. There's Metallica songs. You know, like Damage Incorporated is probably my favorite on the album. I just love the Damage Incorporated. So good. And you know what? Hell, I even love slower songs like Welcome Home Sanitarium. I love the way that sounds. As this song, in my opinion, as Jason Newsted put it, it's a big old fat motherfucker called The Thing That Should Not Be.
Yeah, that's heavy as hell.
Yeah. Battery, fucking Disposable Heroes. It's just a classic album. I love it. And I also love this. I wish Metallica would go back to this style of artwork, like the first.
Yeah, really.
You know, like in all honesty, stuff like this is fine, I guess, but
Yeah.
Nah.
Nah. At least they still.
You're already on number 2?
Yeah, Master of Puppets was my number 2.
What was 4?
Let's see. I showed the Black Album. I showed Injustice for All, and then I showed Kill 'Em All.
Okay.
I think at one point I went ahead before someone else. So.
Oh. Yeah, I was wondering what happened. Well, anyway, my number 2 is Kill 'Em All.
Nice.
Yeah, I love how raw and just brutal this album is. So many memorable tracks. I don't ever skip a single track. I think it's all killer, no filler. All the tracks are awesome. They're just, furious and violent and aggressive as hell. Just make you want to bang your head uncontrollably. We got Hit the Lights, Four Horsemen, Motor Breath, Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, Phantom Lord, No Remorse, Seek and Destroy, Metal Militia. They're all just absolute bangers. Yeah, this album really gets me pumped every time I hear it. I just absolutely love it. It's just thrash metal perfection.
Hell yeah.
Kill 'Em All. Yeah, it's just metal as hell.
Oh yeah. This is freaking thrash, baby. My number 2 as well. Kill 'Em All. I love the energy. I love the spirit of it, the rawness. This is just straight up thrash. This is like the birth of thrash, like amazing. It feels like a revolution.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't skip a single track. The whole album just kicks serious ass. Like I love it.
Absolutely.
Aggressive as hell, fast as hell. Like this is the real Metallica,
Definitely.
Kicks ass. I love all the guitar solos, and there's guitar solos all over the place in this album. I think each song has like 3 guitar solos.
Yeah. Yeah, every song is just loaded with so many riffs. Like,
yeah.
There's like
hammering, like jackhammer guitar riffs, like the Four Horsemen, that Hit the Lights, and oh man, can't get enough of it.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Indubitably.
And even the tracks that they added later on kick ass, like obviously Am I Evil?
Yeah.
Great cover
tracks.
and Blitzkrieg and all that. Even those songs are freaking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I love their cover of Am I Evil by Diamond Head. It's awesome. I love the way they do it.
Definitely. Yeah, just high energy. Love it.
Great choice. So, I assume now we're all at our number 1s, right? So we might as well all go ahead and show them together because I know we're all going to have the same one. Ride the Light.
All right, I love it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So good. Yep.
Amazing.
I just assumed this was all my number one. Unless someone threw something in there and had Saint Anger as their number one, which
Saint Anger is my number one.
yeah,
Because the lyrics are just so moving and compelling. They're just so insightful. They don't sound at all like they're written by a 14-year-old angst-ridden teenager. And the amazing drums by Lars Ulrich don't sound at all like an angry 2-year-old beating the garage door. And the fact that they didn't have solos was such a great idea. I mean, a Metallica album with no solos, that's just phenomenal. I mean, wow, this is brilliant. This album's just pure genius. Pure perfection.
Not.
Not.
Yeah. Brutal. In a bad way.
Yeah. Of course it's Ride the Lightning.
yeah.
Always been my number one.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to open the album with Fight Fire with Fire. That is a face melter.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I'll still say, I know James Hetfield said he will never play the song Escape live. I like the song.
Why? It kicks ass.
Because
Yeah, he really should.
the record company that they needed to put one more song and he just wrote it just to get it over with. So he's like, I hate that song. Like, nah, I like it.
What?
Yeah, really.
Creeping Death, fantastic. Ride the Lightning, great. For Whom the Bell Tolls, I love it. It is another one of those songs that is played a lot, but I still really. Fade to Black is a beautiful song. Yeah.
Certainly.
Absolutely. That was like their first slow ballad type song.
True.
Yes. Yeah, it just opens a Fight Fire with Fire and just grabs you by the balls and just never lets go. I think
It's
the
got
title
that melodic opening though that kind of
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. It opens kind of slow and then it gets heavy as hell. That's so cool. I think the title track is actually my favorite song on the album. It always has been.
Me too.
Just such a banger. And yeah, For Whom the Bell Tolls is still a great song. It is played definitely a lot, but it's still an amazing song for sure.
I think an underrated track is Trapped Under Ice.
Trapped Under Ice is great.
Cry out, I'm trapped under ice.
Yep. And also, without a doubt, this is my favorite Metallica album cover ever.
Yeah,
Mine
it's cool.
too.
Well, that's metal as hell.
Yeah.
The blue, the logo, it's just perfect.
Creeping Death, another absolute classic.
Love it.
I love, my absolute favorite is the title track. I love Ride the
Mine too.
Lightning.
Me too.
Yes.
Guilty as charged, but damn it, it ain't right. Someone else controlling me. Gets me pumped every time.
That riff is so heavy, man.
Love it.
Burning in my brain.
So awesome. I can feel the flame. It's about being executed for share. I mean, how metal is that?
Call of Cthulhu too. So real good.
Yeah, that's a great song too.
I'm surprised that James doesn't like Escape because that's one of my favorite songs on there.
Yeah, no, I wish they.
Love it,
I'd rather them play that live than some of the other songs they play live.
Yeah.
Much of them Escape.
That's got one of the heaviest breakdowns, like see them try to break the hammer down.
I also think this was the album that James Hetfield had a cold or something while recording it, so that's why his voice is like extra, like nah.
Yeah, I think it kind of works. I think it kind of
It
fits. Yeah.
Oh wow, he actually played Fight Fire with Fire. I've never
Oh,
heard them
wow.
play that ever.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, that's exciting.
Cool. Recently, they've been playing Ride the Lightning, which is cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. Fight fire with fire.
Yeah, like you said, even though For Whom the Bell Tolls is a little bit played out, I guess, but I still love it.
Yeah, it still gets me pumped.
Still kicks ass.
Yeah, I still rock out to it every time I hear it.
Fantastic intro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba.
Rain pouring, the sound of the bell, and
Yeah,
comes in with that awesome riff. It just sets up such a great atmosphere.
yeah. It gets you pumped, like you said.
Definitely.
I remember when that was at the start of damn Zombieland. I was like, oh hell
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it at the theater, and yeah, I remember that they started playing that song. I was like, awesome. Yes. It's always good when they play a Metallica song that's not from Black Album.
It's not from the Black Album.
Because that's been done to death.
Oh god, yeah. I'm hoping Master of Puppets doesn't get there, but it's starting to get there.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah, I've heard the title track way too much, probably.
yeah. I would really like to do in the future just like a top 5 of bands that we feel like don't get a lot of recognition. Like bands we like that no one really talks about, and you feel like should be in discussion. I just feel like that'd
be cool.
That would be cool.
Some underrated bands.
Yeah.
I think we did an underrated bands, didn't we? At some point.
Might have.
Oh, maybe.
I think we did top 5 thrash albums, top 5 death metal. We've done a lot.
Top 5 Limp Bizkit albums.
Yeah.
That was a very memorable one.
Yeah. Just one of those days,
Yeah. You don't want to wake up.
Everything sucks.
Yeah. You don't really know why.
If I can be that guy, I think there was one Limp Bizkit song I heard back in the day that I actually liked. It was like for the barricade, it was just like da-da, stick up, and I'm like, it's pretty heavy. Limp Bizkit.
My brother just went and saw them live like a week ago.
Wow.
We never did touch on the new metal era.
Oh yeah. Yeah, new metal was definitely very important in my genesis, I guess, as a metal head. Like they were there at the beginning for me, but like I most of that stuff I just can't listen to it anymore. It just, you know, there's an angry, rebellious younger person. Like it really, it really spoke to me, I guess. But like as an adult, it's just not nearly as.
That teen angst thing.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm just too old for all that angriness and hatred and.
I'll be honest, I still have some certain new metal bands I like that I listened to that were not Korn or Slipknot or none of that. Fucking like Mudvayne and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't think of any bands.
Yeah, there's a time where I was all about Slipknot and Korn and Mudvayne and System of
Cold
a Down.
Chamber and shit.
Yeah, Cold Chamber.
Disturbed.
System of a Down. Yeah, Disturbed. System of a Down. Mudvayne, Mushroom Head, Static X. Yeah. OTEP.
Yeah, Static X. Yeah. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I just kind of, I mean, no disrespect to those bands or anybody who still listens to them. I just feel like I just kind of moved on. It just, you know, it just doesn't appeal to me like it did before.
I guess it just feels like it was of its time. Like it was just right for that time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I remember hearing, you know, when I first heard Korn, I was like blown away. Like, wow, this is something really different. Yeah. But then, but then every band started sounding like them in that room.
Yeah. Yeah, Korn was probably my favorite of all those groups I used to listen to. I think they kind of appealed to me. Most of my friends like Slipknot the best, but I was more into Korn.
Yeah. I think without a doubt, I still listen to Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park, their first album.
Linkin Park was another one that I used to listen to a lot back in those days. Yeah, Hybrid Theory was a really good album at the time. I don't think they ever really topped that one or came close to it.
Honestly, I still think the first two Slipknot albums are great. You know, I can still go back and listen to them.
Yeah, I listen to some of that stuff from time to time, mostly out of nostalgia. It just kind of brings me back to a pretty fun time in my life.
It's heavy. It's pretty brutal, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
First couple albums.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like the audio was probably a good balance, you know, between the new metal and full on metal. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that first album was definitely had like the rap metal going on. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's still heavy, but it was like it definitely was new metal.
Yeah.
Would you say Camara is new metal kind of? Like they kind of started out that way.
Perhaps, yeah. They definitely grouped in with all those other bands very often, so they're kind of. I feel like they are kind of part of that scene, at least.
Love that band though.
Yeah.
They're definitely heavier than all those bands, but still had elements of that.
Yeah, A7X, Avenged Sevenfold was another band that I liked their first couple albums. Okay, I never got really into them that much, but they were one of the bands that I did listen to at one point.
I like Mushroom Head too. I still like them.
Yeah, Mushroom Head was cool, and yeah, allegedly they did the whole mask thing before Slipknot. I think there was even like a big controversy, like
Yeah.
with that. But I always like how they had two vocalists, and they had Jeffrey Nothing and J Man, and there's been several others after that. I think that was the best lineup when they had those two. I don't think either of them are in it anymore. Maybe J Man came back, but Jeffrey Nothing had a pretty cool voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Drum Smash. Corey Taylor is a good singer.
Mhm.
They kind of had like almost like Faith No More in a little bit, in a way.
Yeah,
a little bit. But they've gotten more straight up heavy over the years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what shall we tackle next time?
Good question.
You know, much like Deadpool, I always try and think of something kind of smart ass to say in this situation. Like, oh, we could talk about Nickelback's albums. They're great.
Nickelback is too metal for me. I'm just not worthy.
I kind of cringe when at the fact that they were like friends with Dimebag Darrell and Pantera and stuff. Like, oh man,
yeah.
come on.
They actually have one decent song. It's called "Strong Enough." It was on the Blair Witch 2 soundtrack, and not a lot of people talk about that one. It's actually a pretty decent song. I actually kind of like it a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing great or anything, but it's pretty good for them. It's better than all their other stuff, I think. So.
Yeah. I'm because I grew up in the early 2000s. I still like a lot of music from that time. I play Creed. I don't care. Like there was a lot of stuff from that time that I still like. You know, like Blink 182 or Sum 41s. That type of stuff. Like it was just what it was playing when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Type of girl.
Stained. That was another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll come up with another great show very soon.
Absolutely.
As this was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was a fun one.
Yeah. I really enjoyed hearing you guys' picks. You had some great picks.
Thanks. Likewise.
Definitely a good old fun time like usual, man.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, bro.
Well, thank you everybody who joined us in the chat for the latest episode of the Morbid Hour live stream. And, until next time.
Until next time. Awesome show, guys. Thanks.
Oh yeah. Have a good night, fellas.
Peace out. See you next time.
Later.